GhostRider opened in 1998 as the CCI wooden roller coaster, and in 2016 it underwent a new track change and new trains remodeled by GCI. Many consider it to be a CCI roller coaster, as myself, and I really was overwhelmed by this ride. It really exceeded my expectations. I went in expecting a pretty fun support wooden roller coaster, and I really liked it. I think it makes my top 15, had some great airtime and some really awesome moments that are unforgettable, and I think it's a really great number one for Knott's Berry Farm, and probably my favorite wooden roller coaster in California, and one of my favorite wooden roller coasters, period. Now, going over some stats, you'll see them here on the screen. It's pretty average stats for a wooden roller coaster. You'll reach a maximum height of 118 feet. You can actually see Disneyland from that top if it is a clear day. And then you'll go down a drop at 108 feet. That's sort of enclosed by sort of a roof tunnel. Doesn't really add much to the drop for me, but it's still pretty cool. And that is at a 51-degree angle. So I think it does feel a lot steeper than it is in reality. Towards the front, I wasn't a huge fan of the drop, but in the back, I really got sent over and got some really nice airtime from that. Throughout your 2-minute and 40-second duration, you'll go through a lot of airtime hills and this really awesome helix that pulls 3.1 G-force. So really interesting layout here. Let's take a look at it. Straight out of the station, you're going to go into this little dip, and this is the pre-lift. I think the pre-lift's actually pretty nice. Definitely surprised me. Nothing notable here, though. You'll go up your lift hill, and this is a pretty slow chain. What's interesting is that you kind of leave Knott's Berry Farm. If you've ever been to the park, you'll know that to drive to Knott's Berry Farm, you actually go under GhostRider. So the coaster definitely leaves the park. It doesn't feel like you're at Knott's when you're riding GhostRider. Then you'll go down this drop, and as I already mentioned, in the back row, it's a lot better than the front. The person I was riding with was kind of underwhelmed by the drop, but I really liked it. You'll go straight into a bank turn, I-305 style, and you'll get some nice laterals after going into this huge camelback. Camelback was kind of weird for me because I didn't get any airtime at the top of the hill. Rather, I kind of got dragged down it, so definitely has some nice flowjector at the end there, sort of a mix. After a quick turnaround, you'll go through one more airtime hill before sort of going back to where your station area is. This is a pretty dead moment of the ride for me. I feel like this ride has a great beginning, an awesome ending, and then sort of a okay middle. So in this middle section, I'm going to go up and then do this bank. What's really interesting about this is that it's super intense, and that is because rather than the track being hard banked, it's actually pretty flat, so you really get thrown into the turns, and I really like that. It is pretty rough, but you do get some nice intensity to that. Then you'll hit your mid-course brake run. I don't think it was running when I was riding the ride, but I've heard sometimes it can slow the train down. After that, you'll go into my favorite part of the ride, which is what people call the drop-off of the mid-course. This is a really light dip down into the second half of the ride. I think it really kicks off the end of the ride for me, and it is a great moment. It is definitely one of the best airtime moments I've ever experienced, especially in the back, and it feels like sustained ejector, which is really interesting considering it doesn't actually take up that much drop space. So really nice. Following that, you'll go into my second favorite moment on the ride, surprising, and this is what I like to call the false airtime hill, because what's going to happen is you're going to dip up, get a little pop of airtime, and then get slammed into a turn. Really surprising moment for me. The second half of the ride is very RMC-like. You'll just sort of weave through and out the structure, get some nice airtime moments. Then you'll hit one more unbanked helix before finishing off the ride. And every time I ride this, I feel like the helix is sort of not there, and I always forget about the helix at the end. So it's always a really nice surprise to get thrown into that. Overall, I would say that the layout is pretty diverse for a wooden roller coaster. And definitely the POVs and off-rides that I watched didn't do it justice, because a night ride on the back seats was just insane, and it felt a lot faster than it looks. I mean, I tend to get this feeling with wooden roller coasters that they really haul if you go on the right day and ride it at the right time, and that's how I feel about GhostRider. My first ride in the morning, I thought it was good. I walked off saying, hey, that was really fun. I felt like I had more potential, and then as I rode it throughout the day, amounting to almost 8 rides, I liked it more and more until my final ride at night, it made my top 15. So definitely it's a really great ride. I love it a lot. If I had any main complaint with the ride, it's actually not the roughness. In fact, I think the roughness adds to the ride. I think I would really complain about the trains. Contrary to popular opinion, I'm not a huge fan of these trains because they do move throughout the layout, which is definitely a big minus for me. So if you do get stapled, then the airtime is going to get very hindered. Other than that, I think it's a really great ride. For a final grade, I will be giving this an A-. I think it's a really awesome wooden roller coaster, and it's a really great number one from Knott's Berry Farm. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you all next time.